Hi soul friends, it's Tanya again. It's Friday at noon, so today I thought I would talk a little bit about, well, it turns out it's the throat chakra and our senses, tuning our senses into the world around us. I was struck this morning when I walked out of the house to head into the studio by the change in birdsong I noticed. It was very lively this morning. It's much warmer here this morning than it's been for some time, and I'm often aware of the sounds of the birds and how that changes as the seasons shift and change, and this morning it just, for whatever reason, really caught my attention. And that got me to think about how it is that we sometimes move through our world and we don't necessarily notice what's always there, even when things shift and change, and that we perceive our world largely through our eyes and through our vision, and sometimes it can be really sweet to excuse me. Sometimes it can be really sweet to close the eyes and play with the other senses a little bit, tuning in a little more firmly to what they have to offer, the landscape that's available to us through the other senses. And my thoughts about listening and deep listening and tuning into the senses got me to also think about the chakra, the energy center that the ears and the sense of hearing is associated with. And you may or may not realize it's associated with the throat chakra. We think, if you're familiar with the chakras, they are energy centers in the body, and they align roughly with the spine, starting at the base of the spine and ending at the crown of the head. Those are the 7 primary chakras that you see described most often, especially associated with yoga. And the throat chakra is just above the heart, right? And the heart is the super sweet chakra, right? That is it's the synergizer. It is where the earthy energies of the lower chakras that are denser, right? They're important to keeping us grounded and connected to our earthly home here. And the higher vibrational energies of the upper chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, it's where they meet, right? And they swirl around, and the heart chakra is like the great filter. It has this lovely ability to take those dense energies and those higher vibrational energies and swirl them around, and we experience them in the swelling of the heart. For energy healing modalities, using the energy of the heart is one of the quickest ways to tune into our the healer within, that natural healing ability that we all have. And so sitting right above the heart chakra, right, that great synthesizer, is the first of the chakras that are associated with higher consciousness, and that's our throat chakra. So we think largely in the throat chakra about vocalizing, right, speaking our truth. And I'll say that I have encountered in working with clients that there are a fair number of us that swallow things down, right? We hold things in our throat chakra. And what's really amazing about the throat chakra, through the mythology associated with the chakras, tied largely to Hinduism, is the throat chakra has this ability to transmute, to purify impurities and poison, basically. So if you think about it in this way, and this was a really powerful visualization for me when I first started to explore these energy centers and get to know them a little better and start to work with them a little more as they might apply to my life, was that it is through the throat chakra that we can make the choices, the conscious choice, and then ultimately, as we work with it more, it just becomes an organ of transmutation, of taking in of impurities in the environment and putting out something that's been purified. So taking in poison and letting out nectar. But when we're not using the throat chakra, when the throat chakra is not as fully activated or or we haven't been working with it, or if we're feeling a little reduced energy in the throat chakra, because we might have a habit of swallowing things that we would prefer to say, of shifting our truth to meet what makes other people more comfortable. So what can happen then is we miss the sweetness associated with the chakra. So you basically have, there are three ways that the throat chakra helps us interact, or three ways that we might interact with the outside world through the throat chakra. So if you imagine that you move through a world where we encounter impurities and poison, maybe in the form of less than helpful words said by somebody else, or situations that are challenging, we have a choice, right? We can take those things in. We can take those impurities, those poisons in through our ears, through our mouth. They end up in the throat chakra, and we can swallow them down. And often what that looks like is turning it on ourselves, right? We can accept what the outer world has told us is maybe wrong with ourselves, the ways in which that we're not living up to some external standard. We can accept some of the mass and roles that might be given to us, so other people's opinions essentially, and we take them in and make them our own, right? We swallow them down and they turn on ourselves slowly. A second choice is you can take those impurities in, those poisons in, and you can spew them right back out into the world in the same form that they came in, or potentially worse when they get swirled in with the stuff that we've swallowed down over time. So that can be a way that we interact with the world through the throat chakra as well. That third way I've already sort of talked about, and that is the ability to draw in whatever happens to be in our environment, be it impurities, poisons, whether it comes in the form of someone being less than helpful, someone who maybe is saying something that is accurate or not accurate about us. It can come in the form of us deciding to accept or not accept other people's opinions, or the overlays, those costumes, those masks that other people give us. At any rate, we can take in these impurities, these poisons, and we can allow, with a well-developed throat chakra, with the habit of speaking up for ourselves, we can allow ourselves to be a source of purifying the energies in the world, the impurities, and what we put back out into the world. We can take in poison and we can put nectar back out into the world. We can choose to let our words, our actions, show up better than maybe what the source was that came in. So it is through the throat chakra that we do this. So the throat chakra is just this, it's really this amazing sort of energy center that we don't necessarily give a lot of thought to. But I find that as I interact with a lot of people, it's a place where we can really start to step into our radiance by playing with the throat chakra, by acknowledging the throat chakra. Some of the ways to energize the throat chakra, as you might guess, would be vocalizing. Now, maybe you're in the habit of swallowing down your own truth, in shifting who you might be to make other people comfortable. And this isn't a switch that you have to flip overnight, right? So if you're in the habit of doing that, and you recognize maybe after an interaction that's uncomfortable, I wish I had said this or this or this, and you can come up with a whole script in your head of things you wish you had been able to say. Practice vocalizing. Get that stuff out when it feels stuck, right? It doesn't mean that you have to go and take the choice of taking impurities or poison in and spewing them back out into the world. Instead, you can take the impurities in, and if you're not ready to transmute it in that moment and put something sweeter back out into the world, that's okay. You can walk away and you can sing with the intention of breaking up whatever might be stuck in the throat, whatever you may have swallowed that just doesn't feel like your own, that you don't want to swallow all the way down and feel it turned on yourself over time. So a practice that I would suggest, mantras are a great way to get into this. And if you aren't comfortable with speaking mantras in other languages, a mantra of your own in English is equally as powerful. The mantras that have existed through the ages, you may have seen in our news feed, I think from Saturday, that when Lee was here teaching Kundalini on Saturday morning, he wrote on the wall, it's chalk marker, hopefully it'll come off, 2 mantras for us to use. And what's really interesting about these mantras, be they in Sanskrit or for Kundalini, they're, the language escapes me at the moment, they're in a different language for Kundalini. If you, these mantras, right, they've been around for so long that it's said that as you vocalize these sounds, that some of them are primal sounds, and but as you vocalize them, you're just bringing them into modern times, but behind that vocalization, behind that sound that you're engaging with, is all of the other sages, all of the other seekers, all of the other people who have ever uttered these sounds, who have ever made this, put this prayer out into the world, put this dedication out into the world, which is really powerful sort of visualization. So if that connects and resonates with you, then research mantras a little bit and just say them. You don't have to sing them. You don't have to have a lovely singing voice. You can just say them. You could repeat them. You could say them silently to yourself. But the best thing for the throat chakra is actual vocalization. It can be quiet. It can be loud. Maybe the louder the better in some of our cases. The more we feel that we have stuck there in the throat chakra. But if speaking those other languages or words that you really don't understand is uncomfortable for you, then choose your own mantra. I am free. I have a voice. I'm going to exercise my voice. Any of those things, just keep saying it. I am. Say your name. Whatever feels powerful and empowering to you. Vocalizing is so good. Such a great way for us to connect to the energies of the throat chakra, the power and the support of the throat chakra. But not only vocalization is associated with the throat chakra, but also what we take in, our ears and hearing. And that's actually where I'd like to land for the guided meditation for today. I was really inspired by the bird song this morning, and it got me to thinking about how maybe we don't notice as much about what the soundscape is that we live in. So for today's meditation, I'd like to focus on the sense of hearing and broadening our perspective on hearing. What's really sweet about this is that it does not require you to be in some quiet place. It doesn't mean you don't have to be in nature. You can practice this anywhere you are. It's a great mindfulness practice. It brings you very much to the present moment where you're currently located and connects you to wherever that might be, whether it's the middle of a city block that's very loud, whether it's here in town where we have the movement of cars, so we have the man-made noises, but then we also have the birds, and we also have the river, and we also have all of these other natural sounds. So if it's a mixed environment, it's a largely human environment, or if you are fortunate enough to be out in nature where it's where you can really connect to Mother Nature and the sounds that are there. It's something that you can do for a short period of time or for as long as feels good for you. I find that this practice I'll guide you through is incredibly nourishing for me. It's very soothing to my senses when when I'm feeling a little frazzled, maybe a little overwhelmed, or if my to-do list is feeling a little long and the time in my day is feeling a little short. This is a great practice for me to get back in touch with my center and the moment, and to let go of my mind a little bit, or let my mind go for a little bit. So yeah, wherever you are, ideally, well, you need to be able to close your eyes for this one. So come to a place where you can safely close your eyes and comfortably do so. So maybe that's a park bench or outside your house. Maybe it's right in your house or even in your office. And just set a little time aside for yourself to practice tuning in to the sounds and the rhythm that's all around you. So this practice will be of benefit to the throat chakra. I also find it very soothing to all of my senses. So take a moment to find a comfortable seat and let your eyes softly close. You will need to close your eyes for this practice so that the sense of sight, which tends to be our dominant sense, if we are so blessed, that it gets turned off for a little while. And when you close your eyes, your awareness just naturally begins to drift inward. You can encourage your awareness to do this with the slow, steady rhythm of your breath, letting the body relax around the breath. Just take a couple of breaths to let yourself settle in, to become as still as you comfortably can in your body. And then within yourself, within those layers, feel the shoulders relax, the face soften. Take the space of the next few breaths to let yourself finish settling in, becoming fully present to this moment. So let's start with a couple of clearing breaths. Let your awareness come to your throat, as if the attention or the beam of your attention was like a flashlight and you were suddenly very aware of your throat and how you feel there all around your neck. We're going to take 3 nice deep breaths in, and as we exhale, we're going to open the mouth and sigh as big and loud as you feel comfortable doing. Let the breath settle back to normal as you're ready. Feel how that little bit of attention in the throat, where do you feel it? Does it travel up through to your ears? Do you feel it travel down the neck to the shoulders? How do you experience that loosening in your body? If you could use a few more of those breaths, go ahead. As you feel ready, just return to the slow, steady rhythm of your breath. The eyes still softly closed. Connecting to your inner stillness as much as you can in the moment. And then let your awareness come to your ears. So start by noticing the sounds that are closest to you. The sounds right near where you sit, maybe within the 4 walls if you're inside. If you're outside, just set a comfortable radius around you, maybe just 5 or 10 feet, nothing too big. Just notice what comes immediately to your attention. Are there mechanical sounds, nature sounds, maybe bodily sounds? Maybe your belly is rumbling. Maybe you can hear your breath. So as you notice one sound, let it go and sort of let the next one come to you. Now our habit here might initially be to reach out for the sounds, to draw them in. But see instead if you can shift to reception, if you can shift to being open to receiving, to letting the sounds make their way to you and you being still enough to notice them. So as you notice the most immediate sounds, you can make a mental note if you like. And then let it go as if it were just passing by. When you feel as though you've run out of the most immediate sounds, let your awareness shift out a little further. If you're inside, let it go beyond your immediate space, so beyond the four walls, maybe into the floor that you're on. If you're in your car, let it extend out beyond your car. If you're in the park, let it reach out a little further. And this reaching out with your sense of hearing is more an opening to receive what's already there. So it's as if you were just broadening your perspective of the soundscape. The way we might, with our vision, focus very intently on one thing, then as we back away, we might become more and more aware of more and more of the landscape. We're making that choice now, just using our ears, our sense of hearing. Broaden your awareness to include maybe some quieter sounds. Maybe you notice aspects of these louder sounds that you hadn't noticed before, an underlying rhythm that might exist there. Do you find yourself more able to notice sounds from one ear versus the other? See if you can begin to broaden the soundscape by noticing what might be happening behind you, in front of you. Just continuing to let your attention travel outward. Excuse me. Tuning in with a finer and finer sense to your surroundings, however quiet or noisy they might be, whether the sounds are man-made, the sounds are from nature, or a combination. Once you feel as though you've broadened your awareness out as far as it will go, and you're comfortably absorbing the sounds all around you, begin to notice how they land with you. Notice the natural rhythms within your own body and which sounds feel harmonious and which sounds feel like they are in discord with your natural rhythms, your natural soundscape. Notice how your body, how they land in your body. So not so much how you react per se, but just where do you notice certain sounds? Do some feel comforting and nourishing? Do some sounds feel a little discordant? As if you'd rather move your awareness away from them. See if you can resist the urge to withdraw from any particular sound you encounter. If instead you can let it be around you, swirling in and around you, but you stay at peace within, allowing your experience of it to be what it is, offering no resistance. Taking the space of the next few breaths to just kind of continue with that active listening, the absorbing of the sounds all around you. And then when you're ready, begin to draw your attention back in toward yourself. Staying only as open and connected and aware, absorbing only what feels comfortable for you and the levels that feel comfortable for you. Your attention slowly drawing back in toward your ears, toward your throat. Notice the pace of your breath, the beating of your heart. Notice how the soundscape that you immersed yourself in, if it felt nourishing to you or if your heart's beating a little faster. Do you feel energized? Do you feel depleted? Do you feel neutral? Let's return to those 3 cleansing breaths we started with, taking nice deep breaths in, and as you exhale, opening the mouth and sighing as loudly as feels comfortable for you. Settle into a steady, quiet breath. Notice how you feel. When you're ready, opening your eyes to a soft gaze. I'd like to leave you with one thought today, soul friends, and that is that your voice is a valued, unique, and needed bit of energy in this world. So if you find yourself in the habit of dampening your voice, of muting it in any way, I encourage you to find the practices, however small those steps might be to start. Don't feel as though you have to change it all in an instant. Right? Any amount of exercising your voice in the world, both through active listening, drawing in from the world around you, from your friends and family, and also in actual vocalization, in speaking your truth as you understand it to be today, allowing that there might continue to be evolution in the truth as you understand it. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect to be just right for the moment or the person that you're interacting with. So use your voice, friends. Trust your voice. I hope that you have a lovely day. Thank you for spending some of this beautiful spring day with me today. Namaste.